thank you for that great introduction and for doing the thing I usually forget to do, which is let people know that I am a published author. And that's funny because, well, I've spent the majority of my career speaking for other people. So I do have a cheat sheet for you over there. It's a bookmark if you want to take it, and it talks about the first book I was in and my ebook. So you're welcome to take that. So I have a question. Who's new to Toastmasters? That's fantastic. Have you been in Toastmasters for so long that you have your DTM and you know everything? That's telling. And how many are in the middle? That's actually very good. Because what I'm going to talk about, I think, will speak to you at some level, to every single level I've admitted to. It's the strength of your story, not my story, yours. I've worked with some really big companies on some really great stuff. Has anybody seen a digital cinema movie? I got to introduce that. Has anybody got a digital TV? I introduced the chip 20 years ago that's in 80% of the TVs. So you might ask yourself, why is she in Toastmasters? I've trained people how to give presentations. I've spent my life writing presentations and speeches and news releases and all kinds of things to get the word out. I've given public speaking things. And Adrian's right. It's the #1 fear of most people. Because most of the time we start to breathe up here and we're gonna die. But I came to Toastmasters for a specific reason. When I transitioned from being a corporate wonk to a consultant, different languages happened, different ways to be happened, and I discovered I didn't know my voice. If you asked me to write something, I could write it because I'm writing it for you. If you asked me to write something for myself, I sat at my computer and went, what? So I joined Toastmasters so I could start to practice. And that's an important word that's going to come up later, because I'm going to hit 3 points, things that I learned in my journey to date. And I'll admit, I've been in Toastmasters for 2 years, so I'm still learning. But I'm going to talk to you about being the author of your own story, how to simply remember who you are, how to be confident. Notice how I said I went kind of quiet there? I'm emphasizing confidence because that's going to be the most important tool. So let's start with being the author of your own life. Most of us know about authors based on what we see in the movies. They sit down at their typewriter or their computer and they just start typing away and it's excellent. One draft, there you go. Truth is, 80% of an author's work is rewrite. Editing and rewrite. So in this phase, you start to think about those stories that you've never rewritten. These are the stories we've been told as we grew up. You're never going to amount to something. You think you're the best, but you're not. You're smart, but you need to practice more. These are things that inform who we are. And they're so deep in our psyche that we don't even pay attention. I'm going to give you an example. I have an older sister, and for most of our lives, we got along like oil and water. She tells the story, at least in my head, that I'm a pain in the tuchus. I had to rewrite that story. That's one that I came up in an inventory one time. Why do I always feel like I'm being a pain in the butt to somebody? Well, if you rewrite the story, which is part of being simply remember, you can change your interaction with that person or with yourself. So simply remember, that's our second step. And that's taking the time to think about who you are. Nobody else can tell you who you are. Only you can. Are you the peacemaker? Are you the teacher? Are you the person who stands for love no matter what? Or are you the baby in the family that gets everything? Oh, sorry, that's my brother's story. We all take on roles, but what's the real role? And only you can define that. That then defines a new filter. So when I come over here and I think about the story and my sister telling me I'm a pain in the tuchus, I've rewritten that. I was 4 years younger than her. I adored her. I followed her around. When she painted, I wanted to paint. When she sang, I wanted to sing. When she was with her friends, I wanted to be in the middle. So yeah, it was a pain in the tuchus. But I was an adorable pain in the tuchus because I adored her. And when I changed that, that actually changed our relationship because I changed how I looked at it. Now it's my story. That's how you author your story. That's how you apply simply remembering. It becomes a filter. And that takes you to the third part. And as I said, it's the most important part. Confidence. And there's 2 steps to building confidence. Most speakers miss the first step until somebody at Toastmasters or somebody at work tells them what they have to do. You learned it in school, but I'll bet you forgot it or you hated it. Practice. When I'm talking to an executive and teaching him to do a presentation, I actually have done this. I said, you're going to practice. You're going to drive home and you're going to practice in the car. You're going to shave in the morning, you're going to practice. You're going to have breakfast with your wife, and she's going to hate you because it'll be the 4th time you practice. And when you think you're done, you're going to practice one more time. And I'm happy to tell you, when he went into the CEO and gave his presentation, it went out without a flaw. Of course, then he told me he needed to be picked up for a 5150 because people thought he was crazy. And I just said, good, you listened to me. So practice is really important. But the second part is owning your story. Owning it. Being comfortable. So when I'm with my sister, I'm comfortable that I'm a pain in the tuchus. She's old enough she can take it now. But you have to own it. You have to know what your unique parts are. And you need to use those unique parts. And that's where the magic starts to hit. What makes you unique? I found out when I was working with the Bureau of Labor Statistics that there are 250,000 people, 250,000 people, who say they do what I do. How can I be unique if there's 250,000 people out there in the United States alone who can do that? It's very simple. I will admit it took me a little while and a little bit of journaling, but it's very simple. There's 249,999 people out there who do what I do, but did not have my mom and dad. They did not go to the same schools I went to. And in elementary and secondary school, I went to 12. I'm a military brat. Nobody could say that they went to those same schools, because that's a heck of a combination. Nobody had my first boss or my second boss. All of these things make up who I am. They're experiences, they're skills, they're things that I can apply to whatever problem I'm working on. And you all have that too. So when you become confident, you own that. There's not another one like you. Only you can do what you do. And when you own that, then you can be up here giving a talk that nobody else can give, even though it's all on the same subject. Because each of us has our own unique filters. So as you go through your Toastmasters journey, I challenge you to do this. Just do one thing. Pick one. Pick one story. And ask yourself, is that my story or did somebody give it to me? Figure out the core of who you are, build that filter, and apply it to that story. And then do a talk here at Toastmasters about that story and confidently tell it to everybody in the room. Take that challenge and you will find that you love yourself. My name's Jeanne Alford, and I thank you for this opportunity.